All right, so we're going to use a strap today briefly. You can use anything you've got at home, anything with length, a couple of blocks, a blanket, a bolster. If you don't have a bolster at home, it's no big deal. Well, you can use a rolled up blanket and a wall space. So we're going to get started in a chest opener. All right, so we'll take a couple of blocks. And you can sub with blankets, of course, if it feels better on your body, okay? So we'll start with 2 blocks if you have them, and you can always adjust. One of the blocks could be on the lowest level, or it could be on the medium level. It really will depend on how it feels, okay? And then the other block, I'm gonna put mine on the lowest right now. And then the other block, which is gonna go behind your head, will be on a higher level than the other one, okay? And then you're just gonna come back with your knees bent and put your upper back, so upper back on the lower block and your head on the block that's taller. And I've got my block that's on my back perpendicular to my spine, but you could always change it and make it to go vertical, to go along your spine. Okay, I'm gonna raise my block up now. I'm realizing I want it a little taller. You can decide how big of an opening you want across the upper back right now. And you want it to feel like you're opening up across your chest, but it's not too intense. And of course, no pain anywhere. Okay, it looks like everybody in the room has got it in a good spot, just as far as the shape that I see, but make sure that it feels good to you. Good. And then as you're lying here, you might just notice your body touching the places on the floor as well as the blocks. So kind of grounding into your body. And then you might begin to notice your breath and how it feels this morning. You don't have to change your breath. You could simply notice it coming in and notice it going out. Perhaps softening through your jaw. Softening around your eyes. And today, our focus will be on finding support through your breath, through your core, through your physical body to be able to open up across the chest, across the shoulders. And I always like this as a metaphor for our lives, just as far as when you feel supported, whether that be just the structure of having food, shelter, sleep, all of those things, or it be more like emotional support, then we're more able to open up. We're more able to be vulnerable when we feel like we have that support system. Now, as you're ready, you might decide that you want to take the opening a little bit deeper. So if you want to, you could always stretch the arms overhead. You could always move away the head block or just take the head block lower. So what I'm doing, I've got my block up pretty high. So I'm just lowering my head block and then opening up with the arms overhead and diagonal and out to the sides, kind of like angel arms. You could also take away your block and put your hands behind your head, like interlacing the fingers, and open up too, leaning back. As you breathe in, let's take hands behind the head if you haven't already, and you can take away that head block if it feels okay to you. And as you breathe in, let's open through the ribs. So really try to feel the rib cage expanding on the inhale. And then as you exhale, can you engage the abdominals and draw the sternum down so you start to sit up a little bit on the block, not off the block, just up. Knees are bent in this position, might feel a little more supportive. And then you can inhale and lean back again. And exhale and come up again. So it's just this small feeling, the contrast between opening up and spreading through the ribs, and then exhale using the core to engage, and the ribs get closer together, the sternum moves down. So kind of feeling the difference there. And now the next time that you start to sit up, let's keep the chin tucked so you can put your arms down and just press yourself up onto into a seat, and we'll move your blocks out of the way and come onto our knees. We're going to come into a child's pose with your knees closer together. So not everybody feels good with their knees close together in child's pose and their belly lying down. You might need to separate them more, but just think not as wide as you might do it normally. Okay. So that the back, and the purpose here is that we're letting our back round. So you can take your forehead down either to the floor, a blanket, or the block, and let the arms come back along your sides. And just let the shoulders drape down. If you need to make any adjustments like blankets behind the knees or anything else for yourself, please do. You want this to feel like a softening and a release, not a stress anywhere. Good. And now as you breathe in, perhaps you can feel your breath in your back body. Just noticing that. And as you breathe out, letting go somewhere. Feeling the contact points with the floor again as you use your breath to open into the back body, expand into the back body. Good. Well, now, on your next inhale, let's bring your hands forward a little bit just to press up and open up the knees now. So now we'll do knees open and big toes together or close to it. And let's stretch the arms forward on this one. So you'll notice this will take the back into more of a neutral position or toward it as you stretch forward. Good. And you might need to adjust if you need support below the head. You can add it there so you're not holding yourself up with your neck. It's a block or a blanket. A few more breaths there. And now let's inhale and rise up to hands and knees. And we'll begin some cats and cows. Let's move just the tail and the low back at first. So inhale, tail up, and exhale, tail under. And your lumbar spine will be moving as well. Noticing how it feels through the low back. And now let's focus on the mid back area. The other areas will move as well, but just focusing there. As you inhale, mid back extending as the belly goes toward the floor, and as you exhale, rounding there. And then let's focus on the upper back area, doing the same thing. And you can move the other areas as well, of course. And then if you want to add in the neck, you could do that as well. Good. And now let's find somewhat of a neutral position and spread the fingers really wide, pressing down at the tip of each finger and then at the base of each finger. Okay. So you're getting a stretch through your hands. And you can put as little or as much weight on your hands as you want, right? By shifting forward or back. And then you can start to bring more of a stretch into this wrist extension by moving your weight around on the hands. You might even come forward a little bit if your wrists are feeling strong enough to do that. And let your breath flow here. Good. And then coming back to center, if you're moving around, now we'll do an active wrist extension where we're just going to exhale, sitting back to child's pose. And as we do that, can you lift the palms of the hands, extending the wrist fingers go towards ceiling? And then as you inhale, come back up into your passive wrist extension. So just come up to tabletop and lean forward and then repeat. So you get to control how much pressure you put into that wrist extension. But you might also notice what the active wrist extension is like for you. Like when you go back, how much are you able to extend the wrist? And is it even hand to hand? And that just gives you a little information about your wrist strength in that position. Good. Now, the next time you come up, let's just rise up onto the knees for a moment and we'll take the arms out to the sides and we're going to make a fist and exhale wrist flexion. So just take the knuckles down and then inhale, we'll do an active wrist extension again, stop signs. Yes. And then you get it and repeat. You get a little bit of a nerve glide as you do that. So you might feel that through the forearms. Let's keep our wrists a little lower than our shoulders, just so you're not getting tense up in your neck and shoulder area, and keep breathing. One more here. Good. And then we'll come down onto the knees again. And let's do some of our protracting and retracting of the shoulder blades. So the protract is the widening. And then the retract, you're pulling the shoulder blades toward one another. Just let your neck relax and repeat. When you retract, you guys, you're not elevating. So you're not drawing them up by your shoulder, by your ears, right? They're just squeezing together behind your back. So let your neck hang, and that'll help with that. And you can even try to do these for a little more core work. You can do these with your knees off the floor, hovering the knees, doing the same thing. Keep breathing. And now from here, let's go back to downward facing dog. Just moving around any way that feels good to you right now. Feeling into where you're noticing sensations here in down dog today, how your body feels today on your mat. And noticing also just how your mind feels today, how you feel emotionally. So doing a full body check-in and knowing you can always change the practice. You don't have to do what I'm saying. If there's something else you need to be doing at any point, can do that. And then if you're moving around, let's come back to the center with the pose and inhale to lift up the heels and get really long through your torso. And exhale, taking both heels down to the right. So just kind of shifting the heels over to the right. And let's pause there for an inhale, breathing into the left side of your body. And exhale. And now let's inhale, come up through the center with the heels and exhale as you take them, shifting to the left now. And then pause for an inhale, breathing into that right side of your body. And an exhale. Right, and then let's inhale up through the center. And as you exhale, let's shift forward to plank pose. You can always drop to knees if it's better for you. Let's get the tail tucked in this plank pose and protract the shoulder blades. Now to turn on the core, you're feeling like you're moving your armpits toward your heels. Okay, good. And lifting the hips high as your shoulders without flexing the hips. Good. And now from here, let's drop to the knees and stretch back to puppy dog pose, taking the arms forward, hips stay high, letting the head come down between the arms if it will. We're just taking 3 breaths here. Softening through your jaw, feeling the breath opening the ribs on your inhale. Good, and now let's come forward or come up and then onto our forearms. And we'll take the elbows below the shoulders and protract the shoulder blades. And now let's walk the knees back. So there's a couple things we're gonna do, a forearm plank pose. You can do this with tail tucked, knees on the floor like this, okay? Or you can do this with knees off the floor, tail tucked. And then this time to turn on the core, hopefully you'll feel it already, but to turn on the core, if you're not, feel like your armpits are moving towards your waist and you want to bring your chest right between the elbows, right? So you're not rounding upward and that'll turn it on too. Might need to drop the knees if it's too much. Okay, and keep breathing there, keep tucking the tail. That's it. Yeah. Tucking the tail will get that core activated for most people and really engaging the belly. Good. Softening the jaw. Can you do 1 more breath or 2 more breaths here? Giving yourself a challenge, whatever that is for you. And then from there, we'll drop down onto our bellies. So you can drop the knees first and come down first into Sphinx pose. So inhale, spreading across the collarbones. Good, and exhale, just relax your jaw. Good, and inhale, spread across the collarbones. And now exhale, let's lower down onto our foreheads, taking one arm, let's do the right arm, out on a diagonal about like 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, if it was the face of a clock, and roll the shoulder away from the floor. So the shoulder blade comes onto your back. So you comes up and then down, right? And so my elbow lifts off the floor when I do that. Okay. And then I'm going to use my left hand, like a push-up hand, bend the left knee and start to roll over, looking to the left until I get a stretch in the front of the right pec area or deltoid, neck and jaw relaxed. Keep breathing. You might need to adjust where your arm is. Some people will feel better with a bend. You're just looking for a stretch in the front body. There, 1 more breath. And then when you're ready, use an exhale to come out. I'm going to extend the left arm up to like 11 o'clock or 10, somewhere around there. And first, move the shoulder head away from the floor so your shoulder blade comes down your back on that left arm. And then looking to the right, bending right knee, we'll start to flip it over a little bit or a lot until you get a stretch. Make sure your neck feels okay. Trying to move that left shoulder off the floor and down your back. Good. Keep breathing. Nice. And then coming back around to the front here and down. Let's place our hands for a push-up. And inhale again, shoulder blades down onto your back. And exhale, engage the abdominals, drawing your ribs in. Again, press up to your knees or to high plank, and then back to downward dog or child's pose. Just find a pose that you can hold, and maybe even, it's fine to keep moving, right? That's not a problem, but you might also experiment with being still in the pose as well. And just notice the difference in how your nervous system responds and just how the pose feels in your body. Let's try 3 more slow breaths. This is Adho Mukha Shavasana, downward dog pose. And now as you're ready here, let's slowly walk your hands back towards your feet. You can bend the knees at any time. And once you get your hands back there, let's bend the knees and inhale to extend the spine forward. Your hands could always come up onto your thighs or they could be just dangling, okay? And now from here, we're going to send the hips back so our weight will come into our heels and reach the chest forward. So it's about the height of your hips if you can. You can always have support with hands on thighs. Good. Exhale there. And then inhale. Let's rise up, reaching chest forward, reaching arms up. And exhale. Let's bring palms to touch. Anjali Mudra, drawing the hands down. And then just pause there in Tadasana or mountain pose. Arms can stay here or they can come down. And notice how you feel here. Inhale, standing tall. Exhale. And now you can use your Ujjayi breathing here if you'd like, just hearing the sound of your breath. Letting your arms come down at your sides when you're ready. And finding, again, Tadasana, mountain pose, right? So it's strong and calm and grounded and expansive. And can you feel that with your breath too? It doesn't necessarily have to be a strong breath because we're not doing anything challenging, right? But maybe it is. Maybe you want to do your Ujjayi breath and feel that. But can you calm your breath and also feel grounded through your breath, through your feet? And can you bring in an expansive quality to your breathing as well? And also to the pose. So feeling yourself standing taller would be expansive, to feel the ribs expanding on the in-breath. And lengthening your breath on the exhale. Good. And then when you're ready, let's open eyes if they're closed and just come up toward the front of your mat. And you can get your blocks up there if you'd like. Good. Oh, and let's get your strap and just place it on one of your blocks or up there. I'm going to use it in a minute. Good. Let's inhale, roll the shoulders up, squeeze them together behind you, and exhale, take them down your back. And again, inhale up. And exhale down. Good. And now let's grab the strap. And we're just going to take your arms any width, maybe shoulder width to start. Okay. And we'll inhale, take them up toward the ceiling. Exhale there. Good. And then as you inhale, let's elevate the shoulder blades. So draw them way up by your ears. And then as you exhale, let's try to retract the shoulder blades. So the shoulder blades come together like when we do our protract, retract. Good. And then relax for a moment and just shake them out. And let's do it again. So inhale, draw them up, elevate those shoulder blades, and then retract them. Keep breathing. Good. And then relax them. All right, so this time you might need your arms wider because we're going to take our arms up and over our head, okay? So they might need to be quite wide because we're going to try to keep those arms straight, all right? So we'll inhale up and elevate, then exhale, retract, and start to take the arms back behind you. Now, some of you might need to get closer with your hands if you're really flexible, okay? And then inhale up because you want to feel that this is a stretch. And we're just going to do it again. Okay, so exhale back. So find, where do your hands need to be on the strap where your arms can stay straight as you do this, but you're also feeling a stretch in your body, right? So it'll be so different for every person where that is. So there's no slack in the strap. There's no slack in the strap. It's tight. Good. And let's just do one more. Good. And this time when you come up, let's bring the strap down and you can set it to the side. If your hands got tight, just do a little piano fingers, moving them around here. And coming back up to the front, we'll inhale and reach the arms up and exhale and fold. And you can let the knees bend. We're going to hang out in a forward fold for a moment. So your hands could be on your blocks or they could dangle. You can have your knees bent or straight. Either way is totally fine. And just notice your breath, notice your shoulders. And you let your jaw relax, let your face relax. Okay. And now, if you've got your hands like on the blocks, if it feels okay, just let them dangle. And can you draw your shoulders up by your ears, like elevate the shoulder blades? Good. And then relax them, let it go. And then draw them up and relax them. And now let's place the hands above the knees. Put a little bend in the knees if they're not already bent, and inhale to reach your chest forward. Good. And now can you elevate the shoulder blades up by your ears and then retract the shoulder blades onto your back? Good. And then relax them and just do that again. So you're just elevating them up by your ears, like you're shrugging, and then retract them like you're trying to take the inner edge of your shoulder blades toward one another. Chest is forward, chest is forward. That's it. Good. And now exhale. Let's take your hands down to your blocks. Good. And step your left leg back and let's drop the knee onto your blanket or the floor. Okay. And inhale to rise up to a half kneel, and exhale to tuck your tail forward until you get a stretch in the front of the back hip. Inside of right or back of right hand goes on inside of right knee. Inhale, stretch left arm up, tuck the tail again, and exhale, a little pressure into the knee as you lean to the right. Good. Let your neck relax and keep tucking your tail, engaging that left glute. A couple more breaths. And just noticing what you're feeling, what the sensations are like here on that left side. Good. And now let's slowly inhale, rise back up, and exhale, bring the hands down. We're going to come into a plank. It can be any kind of plank. You might need to move your blanket out of the way. Step it back. Try to find the core here in plank. Okay. Good. And now let's lower down to the floor. And inhale, hands about at cheekbone level out to the sides. We're going to inhale, come up into cobra. Good. Shoulder blades down the back. In fact, if you can stay here, you could always come to Sphinx, right? Instead, if this is too much. Otherwise, elbows can be up. Let's elevate the shoulder blades. Inhale and retract them. Right? Draw them toward one another. And then elevate them. And now retract them. Draw them down the back a little bit too. Good. And now let's lower back down. And you can pad the forehead as you wiggle out the hips a little bit. Find your breath. Breathing in, breathing out. Good. Now we're going to take the hands forward into those an tented wrist hands. So that means fingertips are down and wrists are up. And I've got mine, they're probably out to the sides at about my temple level or my top of my head level, okay? And now I'm going to press my pubic bone down as I inhale, come up into cobra with these hands. I might be able to straighten my arms and I might not, but can you see that if I elevate my shoulders, they're up here, and then I'm going to draw them down my back and retract my shoulder blades at the same time if I can. Okay, take another breath here. So from here down here, that's it. Yeah, and retract. Engage your abdominals a little bit. Good, keep breathing. And then exhale, lower down. Nice, everybody. And then inhale, just find any kind of cobra or sphinx, because we're gonna come up and do our twist. So just come up any height, and then exhale, twisting to one side. If you're in cobra, you just bend an elbow. If you're in sphinx, you slide an arm forward, and then inhale through the center and exhale, twist to the other side. Good. Inhale forward and then exhale, lower back down. You're going to do a push-up here. Inhale. So it's kind of like chaturanga, except the thing I like about a push-up variation is that the elbows are more at a 45-degree angle. So they're not trying to come in at your ribs, which can just, it's not bad or anything. It's just hard for people to get the right form doing that. So you're going to move shoulder blades onto your back. And then as you exhale, engage your abdominals and try to press up to knees or high plank. And then you can go back to your down dog or your child's pose. Good. And just taking some breaths here. So there's no essentially bad movements or bad things, right? A lot of times I feel like people get scared through what, I don't know, different exercise or yoga classes have told them, but really it's what's right for your body in any given time, what's right for you, and also whatever function you're trying to achieve, what you're trying to do, okay? Following breath in here and following your breath out. And now as you inhale, if you're in down dog, bending the knees, and exhale, we're going to step the left leg forward in a low lunge, dropping back knee down. Good. Inhale to rise up and tuck the tail. Good. Exhale, placing back of left hand on inner knee. Inhale, right arm up, keep that tuck, and exhale, pressure into the knee as you lean to the left. Good. A few breaths here. Good. And then let's inhale back up. And I forgot to do this on the other side, but we'll do it. Let's exhale, lean forward into a lunge. And I'm just going to take the right hand out to the right a bit. Take the left hand to your thigh for a gentle twist, going around, looking around to the left. Good. And then just notice, is your right shoulder blade elevated? Would it feel better if you retracted the shoulder blade and moved it down a little bit? You can experiment and just see what feels best in your shoulder. Good. One more breath. And then on your exhale, let's untwist ourselves and we're going to change sides. So you can practice a little hop switch if you want to. To do that, I'm going to take my blocks to the medium height. I'm going to tuck my back toe under. And as I exhale, I'm going to press my hands into my blocks, rounding my spine and engaging my core. And as I inhale, I'm coming back to a knee elevated lunge and repeat. So I'm just exhaling and then inhaling back down. Now, the next time I exhale, I'm going to hop switch, but you could also step switch, right? So a hop switch, I'm going to exhale, lift up and draw my core up and hop the other leg. And then let's do that a few times. You can also exhale and step switch, right? You can see what works better for you. Good. And then we'll end up with the right leg forward, dropping the left knee down to the floor and taking your left hand out to the side, probably on the floor. Exhale, right hand to thigh, gentle twist to the right. Just letting your neck relax here, letting your jaw relax. I'll get that ear going here. Let's see what we're on. Okay. Keep breathing. Long in, long out. It's not working. Huh. Okay. It's not working. So I'll find the remote in a minute. Now on your exhale, untwisting yourself, hands back to your blocks. We'll inhale to lift your back knee off of the floor and exhale, stepping forward. When you're ready, let's inhale. You can either take hands above knees and exhale to do chair pose, or you could inhale, reach your chest forward, and exhale, just press down through your heels to stand up with straight legs. Inhale, reaching arms up, and exhale, arms out to the sides and down. Good. Just kind of wiggle around. Notice how you're feeling here. Good. And now let's inhale, arms up again. And exhale, hinge and fold. Inhale to extend your spine forward. And exhale, let's step the right leg back with the knee off the floor. Feet are hips distance apart. So if you've got yours lined up on a tightrope, just widen them a bit. And then exhale, shift your left hip back. And if it feels okay to you, squeeze your hips into the center and take your arms back, hovering hands off the floor. Yeah, off the blocks. Good. Let's retract the shoulder blades here. So just experimenting with this today. Exhale there. Now, if it feels okay in your back, and only if, you could inhale, try to take your arms by your ears. Good. Exhale. Keep shifting that left hip back. Good. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Now on our next inhale, let's bring shoulders over hips and bend the back knee. So we're going to do just like we did in our half kneel. So it's more of a tail tucked, bent back knee position. Good. Inhale. Good. Now as you exhale, we're going to do is untuck the tail. You might straighten the back leg as you take the arms back behind and hinge at the hip. And then as you inhale, you're going to tuck the tail, bend the back knee, come back to the start. Good. And exhale, untuck the tail. So it's like you got your big fluffy tail wagging up behind you. And keep going with this, you guys. Okay, I'm going to try to find the remote. Okay. What's that? No, that's something else. I don't know what that thing is. Thanks, Alan. Keep going, you guys. Just use your breath. And if you need to go slower, go slower. Good. And then the next time you rise up, good. Let's bring the left arm or the right arm down. No, I was right. The left arm down, back of hand on inner knee. Good. Inhale, right arm goes up. I guess it's not going to work to reach your knee, is it? Just put it on your thigh. How about that? Tuck the tail and lean to the left. So just like the stretch we did on the ground, but we don't have that counter knee pressure. Good. Keep breathing there. Okay, it's working. Good. Good. And now as you inhale, let's rise back up. And exhale, let's bring hands down to your blocks and either do one jump switch or one step switch to the other side. Okay, so feet are hips distance apart. Shift your right hip back, squeeze the hips in toward the midline. See if you can inhale to lift the arms and squeeze the shoulder blades back together, retracting. Good. It's like you're leading with your chest here. Nice, everybody. Keep shifting that right hip back. That's it. Good. Now on an exhale, you might be able to take your arms up by your ears. You can see if that feels okay and stay here. Keep shifting that right hip back. Use that strong Ujjayi breath here is a great time to use it. And then when you're ready from here, we could inhale, rising up to our bent back knee crescent lunge, tucking the tail under, go ahead, pause. Now on an exhale, we'll try tail tilts up. So tail tilts up, chest and belly move forward. Your arms can come back. The leg might straighten behind you. And repeat, right? Inhale, rising up. The back heel is lifted on this, you guys, if you can. It is crescent lunge, not warrior one. Sometimes people, it's really hard to balance there, right? So feet wider apart helps. Another thing that helps is just going by a wall and putting your hand on the wall for balance. And then, of course, you can always just put the heel down, all right? Let's do a couple more. I know we did several on the other side. So try to find that support through your breath and your legs and your core as you're moving in space here. Next time you come up, we'll stay there. Okay, we'll drop the right hand to the thigh, retuck the tail. Inhale, reach the left arm up, and exhale, a little lean to the right. Jaw relaxed, neck relaxed. And then let's inhale, rise back up, and exhale. Let's bring hands all the way down to the floor if you can. Any kind of plank pose is fine. And hold for a couple of breaths. Now, either going back to down dog or child's pose or going through a vinyasa here. Taking your time, and when you get to your static pose, just noticing, doing a full body scan, a brief body scan, noticing how you're feeling, if anything needs to be adjusted or changed. Right? Also noticing your breath, your mind, contact points with the floor. Couple more breaths. And now lift from here, inhale to bend the knees, and exhale, hopping or stepping to the front of your mat. Hands above knees as you inhale to reach the spine forward. Exhale, let's fold down over the legs. Now, as you come up, you can roll up. You can come up like a reverse swan dive here, reaching your chest forward, or you could come through chair pose, just coming all the way up, and exhale, arms out and down. All right, just kind of wiggle around. And we're going to step. Let's have you guys on the sides of the room step to face me wide on your mat. And you guys in the back could face the door you came in on or the other way, either way. Then we're going to open up the right foot and knee to warrior two, kicking back the left heel. So right knee is bending, right knee is bending. Good. And then inhale, let's reach the right arm up toward the ceiling. Get way, way up. And then exhale, let's bend the right arm. Good. You're going to take the left hand and hold the elbow if it can reach, and then push the right elbow out to the right. But don't let it go with the hand. Like keep it trapped there with your hand. That's it. And then bringing the back of the head back in line, if you can, with the upper back. And if you can, your belly button is turned to the side. It's not turned towards your right knee. If you can. Okay, good. Keep breathing. Not to the knee. Yep, to the side of your mat. You got it. And then from here, let's let go with that left hand and inhale, reach the right arm up, reverse warrior, reverse Virabhadrasana pose here. You can let your neck relax. You can look up, you can look down. Good. And then exhale, keeping that right knee bent the whole time if you can. You might have had to let it go, but if you did, just bring it back to bent. Side angle pose, right forearm to right thigh. I'm going to take left arm along ear if that feels okay. And let's really suck the right thigh bone into the pelvis. So bring it back into that hip socket and untuck the pelvis. You're not arching the back, you're just not tucking it, okay? Not tucking the tail. Keep breathing. Notice where your neck wants to be. And can you lift out of that right shoulder? Good. And now on your exhale, let's look down at your right foot. Press down into that right heel to lift your torso back up. And now we're going to turn to face the right leg again in crescent lunge. So you're going to walk that right foot over to the right side of your mat. Lift your back heel up. You might be facing the back of your mat. And tuck the tail under. Okay, just like we just did a moment ago. Inhale to lift the left arm up. But this time, we're going to exhale, right hand on right thigh. We're going to try to hook the elbow onto the other side of the thigh. Yeah, that's it. You can keep your right hand on your thigh, balancing yourself, or you can make a fist with that left hand. Take your palm to the fist, elbow towards ceiling. Right. You could even drop the back knee if it feels better on your body, just bringing the back knee down to the floor, doing the same pose. Keep breathing. Good. Now to come out, placing that right hand on the thigh, undoing the elbow. Good. Bringing hands down to the floor, stepping back to downward dog. Let your neck relax. Let your jaw relax. You can sway the hips if you'd like. You could twist by lifting heels and going to one side or the other. Let's find a rhythmic breath here. Good. And then we're going to inhale to bend the knees and exhale to hop or step to the front of your mat. Inhale, let's take hands above knees and really reach the chest forward. Exhale, staying there. Good. Inhale, can you retract the shoulder blades here? Good. Exhale, a little bend in the knees as you press down through the heels to stand up. Inhale, reach way up. And exhale, arms down. Good. We're going to turn the same way, but this time we'll be bending the left knee to warrior two. All right, so kicking that right heel back. Good. Inhale to reach the left arm up. Exhale, bending the left elbow. And then taking your right hand and see if you can get up there and grab the elbow, pressing the elbow out to the left, but not letting it go. And if it feels okay in your body, your belly button is facing away from your knee, so facing that long edge of your mat. Okay, good. Bringing the back of the head back, feeling the feet solid on the ground. Good. Now let's let go of the elbow, bringing the right arm down, extending the left arm up. You could either look up or you could look down at your back foot or anywhere in between. The front knee is bent if that feels okay, keeping it there, getting long on the left side of your body. Softening through the jaw using a strong breath. And then on your exhale, side angle pose, bringing forearm down to your thigh. You can extend the right arm along your ear if you'd like. And let's draw the left thigh bone into the hip socket. Like get it in there. Untuck the pelvis if it's tucked. Good. Keep breathing. You can lift out of that left shoulder. Get long all the way from the pinky toe edge of your back foot out your fingertips. Good. And now on your exhale, let's look down at the left heel and press into it as you rise back up. And inhale, releasing. You're going to face your left leg. You might be facing the back of your mat. Coming into crescent lunge. Your feet are hips distance apart, tucking the tail under. Now remember, you could always put your knee on the floor for this, okay? You're going to inhale to reach the right arm up. That's it. And exhale, you're going to tuck the tail more, bend the back knee more, Draw the belly back to help you hook the elbow around. Left hand is on thigh. Now, if right away you're like, I need to put the knee down, just put it down, okay? Can either stay here trying to turn the chest to the left, or you can make a fist with that left hand and palm goes on top. So you can use a little leverage there to turn the chest to the left. And keep breathing, guys. Are you breathing? Good, I can't hear anybody's breath. Keep going. And then to come out, you're going to put the left hand back on your thigh to give yourself the ability to untwist, taking your hands down to the floor and stepping back to your downward dog. If you're facing the back of the mat, you can either stay that way or you can walk yourself around to face the front of your mat. Couple more breaths. Good, and then you can either bend the knees and hop or step up to the front of your mat. Then inhale, reach your chest forward. Exhale, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Let's use an inhale to come up this time, pressing down through your feet, rising up. And exhale, arms down. All right. Okay, we're going to go to a wall. Now at home, you could use a piece of furniture for this. It doesn't necessarily have to be a wall. You're going to take your blocks and your blanket to the wall. And I'll bring this over with me too. You could always use this one too, Penny, if we need more. Okay, so for this one, you guys, we're going to pad our knee, our right knee, bending it. Could be on a pillow, a bolster, or the floor. You definitely want something there. Okay, I've got a blanket. And then my foot is going up. It could be on a chair at home. It could be on the wall, the couch. It's called the couch stretch in non-yoga. Okay. It could be close. Like if you're really flexible, I might have my knee right against the wall here. But we're going to start out low. So we're going to start with our hands down on our blocks or the floor, whatever feels better to you. Okay. And just notice how your knee feels. Like if you need any modifications, you can take them. If your knee hurts when it's compressed like this, you're going to want to take the knee further away from the wall. You could even just put the foot like on a block and see how that feels, right? So it's very mellow, but you've got support there. And I think you guys at home know that variation too. Just looks like this. Okay, so instead of having the foot way up, just on a block. Okay. Good. So you're just noticing what you're noticing. You're hoping for a quad stretch. That's what we're trying to feel here. If you're very flexible, it might be minimal down low like this. Okay. And now if and only if it feels okay, you could start to lift upright. Okay. Now, if you're very flexible, we're going to go with the foot, the heel coming on the outside of the hip. So instead of going straight back to it, it's a little bit to the outside, like a Virasana pose. Right? We're all going to try to lift our pubic bones up though. So that's going to take some of the stretch out of it, right? So I'm tucking my tail, not the stretch out of it. It's going to put more stretch in it. So you might have less range and you're breathing. Again, we want no knee pain as we're doing this. And if you're feeling it in your foot, is that where you're feeling it, Lisa? Because see how I've got the flat of my foot? That's what I mean. If you're feeling it in your foot, because it's really good to get that stretch. Same with you, Karn. Let's do this. Because we want mobility there because we need it. Here, come on back. There you go. I'll show you. You can put like a blanket there. First of all, I'm going to do this with you. I might even just do this. Here. So that you can get some of that pointed action. Yeah, is that okay? Yeah, that's it. So Karn, yeah, toenails pointed up if you can. Yeah, you got it. Good. How are you guys doing? I know this is a long one. You guys that have been there for a while, you can come out now. Exhale, just come down. Okay, Karn, you might take a few breaths, just getting that foot stretch. Okay, and we're just going to switch sides. It's a little tricky to get out. Okay, so to get out, You're going to come forward, slide your blanket forward, get the other leg up. So you guys at home, what I was telling them with the foot, like if your foot has trouble or your ankle has trouble like this, you could put a blanket below it. For somebody, I even just came away from the wall to give them less of the foot thing. Okay, because we want to be able to go into plantar flexion. It's just really important for our walking and mobility through the feet. So we're staying low a few breaths. You guys are going right into it. That's fine. You can go right into it. We're here for a while. Okay. Whenever you're ready to come up, you can come up. Okay, so if you're really flexible, keep working on bringing the pubic bone up. If this is super intense for you, you're already feeling it, and you can try to lift the pubic bone, but it might not go very far. Okay. And just slow exhales, right? So keeping your focus, you want zero knee pain, but a lot of quad sensation that feels tolerable to you, nothing too intense. Can you relax and soften through your neck and jaw? Let's take a couple more breaths there. That's right. And then slowly coming out. Okay. And just bringing your feet next to one another, like a forward fold. You can use your blocks. And then inhale, reaching your chest forward. Exhale, retract the shoulder blades. Inhale, bend the knees and stand. Good. When you bring your arms down from your standing position, let's take them onto the hips. Okay, so you're going to take your hands to your hips. If you had to relocate, we are going to use the wall again, but not for a couple minutes, so you can find your way back to your mat. Okay, so your hands to your hips. I'm going to keep the spine in neutral. So a lot of times when we do a little bit of a lift through the chest, we tuck the tail. Here we're going to try to keep the spine in neutral and inhale, roll the shoulder heads back. Exhale, and just notice the low back curve, see if that feels okay. And now inhale, can you feel like you're lifting your ribs up away from your waist? And exhale, rolling the shoulder heads back. So we're going to focus on here breathing. You can have any amount of opening across your chest. Okay, whatever feels good in your back. But we're focusing on is opening up between the ribs. Just feeling like they're spreading open with every inhale, but keeping length in your low back. Good. Now on your next exhale, engage the abdominals to come out and forward fold, slowly coming down the legs. Pause for an inhale here and an exhale. We're going to inhale to extend the spine forward and exhale, plank pose. Any kind of plank. Get the core turned on. Keep breathing. And then slowly lowering down to the floor. Inhale, hands forward, low cobra. Good. Shoulders away from ears. Exhale, lower down. Now, I'm going to keep moving my hands back, but you can choose how much you do that, right? You could stay with that same one if you wanted. Inhale, cobra. My hands just move back a little closer to my shoulders. My shoulders are away from my ears. So that might mean bending elbows to get those shoulders from here to here. Yeah. Can you bring them down even further? That's it. Yes. So they might need to be, hands might need to be further forward too, coming down. You might move them further back, but it might not be right for you, right? So you can try. You gotta really press down through the pubic bone, keep the core engaged, rising up, shoulders away from ears, right? Away from ears. My glutes are engaged as I do these. And I'm just experimenting, how far back do my hands want to be where I can still keep shoulders away from ears and feel strong through my core. And then just pick your favorite one. It might be Sphinx pose, right? It might be up dog if you want a little leg action, right? Okay. Good. And then lowering down. We're going to press up through a push-up and either go back to child's pose or downward dog, whatever you would feels better in your body right now. Okay. Good. And once you get there, could you take a sigh or two? Oh, that's it. Feel your hands on the floor. Relax something, jaw or eyes or breath. Good. And then as you're ready to, we're going to be moving our bodies again. Those of you that are right at a wall can just come down to knees. Otherwise, you'll need to walk your hands and feet together because we're going to find our wall space. But this time, we're going to need a tall wall space, okay? The full height of the wall. And let's see, I'll show it from this angle this time. And you're going to want your mat there too. Okay. So let's see, Penny, let's move you here to this mirror because I feel better with Alan if it's okay using that mirror. That's it. And Mary Ann, I think use the mirror. Yeah, you're gonna put your feet up there, but if you don't want to do an L handstand, you'll just be doing down dog at the wall. So that would be okay on this. But if you're gonna do an L handstand, I would do it here. Okay. All right. All right. Here we go. So you guys at home, if you don't have a wall, you just make do and do one-legged down dog. The first thing I'm going to show is, don't really need a knee padding, is I'm just doing down dog at the wall. I've got my heels up, and then I'll be taking one leg up the wall, taking a few breaths, and then the other leg. Okay, that's what that looks like. Let's just actually do that first, okay? And then I'll show you the next thing. So get to your space, and if you don't have a wall, just do one-legged down dog. And when you're ready, try to take a leg up and see how it feels. Yeah, that's it. You got it. Yep. And your standing leg can be bent or straight. If you can put your toenails against the wall, like that plantar flexion again, go for it. If you can't, it's okay. If that's too much strain on your ankle right now, do it the other way. Okay, keep breathing. Good. Notice, how does it feel to push your weight back toward the wall off your shoulders? Good, just notice. And then take a few breaths before switching sides. If you need to take a break between switching sides, do that. Right, just child's pose or whatever you want to do here. Nice, everybody. Keep breathing. Don't force anything. All right. Let's see if you guys can see me. And then once you've done both sides, come on down, take a break, and just get to where you can see me. So you could choose to do that again. All right, you could do the same thing again, a few breaths, or you could even just do down dog at the wall or take a break. I'm going to be doing an L handstand at the wall. And we haven't done these in a long time because there's not a lot of wall space in here, right? So I don't do them a lot in this room, but I'll protract my shoulder blades. And then what I'm going to do is, see, I kind of come into a little mini down dog, and then I put my foot on the wall and then the other one. Okay. And I'm going to look at the wall. You might not get to there. You might just get to here. Okay. And you guys at home, I'm cut off but I'm making an L. So my feet are trying to be about the height of my hips. And it's harder than you think, because you might feel like you're going to go over into the center of the room. You're probably not going to do that because your weight's back. It's not going to go forward. Okay. And I'm not kicking my weight that way, but it feels that way to people. Okay. So if and when you're ready, I'm going to talk you through the L. Otherwise, stick with what you did last time. Okay. So to get to the L, I bring my feet to the wall and I start in a table. I inhale to protract my shoulder blades and I exhale to lift my knees off the floor. And then I just test it out. I put a foot on the wall and I might put the other foot up there, pressing into the wall. I leave my knees bent until I walk them to the height I want. Not higher than your hips though, but that's awesome, Heather. Yes, that's it. And then you try to maybe straighten your legs and breathe. Oh yeah, I know it's a lot, huh? And you might feel like you have to come down right away, or you might take a breath or two. All right. This is an awesome strengthener for handstand. And I know you guys are looking at these guys doing it. These guys used to do this with me all the time. We used to do this a lot at the other studio. We had so much wall space. Keep breathing. Yeah, nice, everybody. Whatever you've chosen, awesome. Okay. And then take a break when you're ready. Good job. And when you take your break, you might want child's pose, or you might just want to sit in Vajrasana, rock pose. So just see what feels better. Starting to slow down, bless you. Slow down your exhale. Take an inhale and exhale. Good. All right, now that we've got your heart rate up, we're going to just keep it up a little bit longer. Don't worry, we will end. We're going to stay at the wall, and you'll need your blocks close by. And we've done this more recently in here, but some of you might not have been with me. To start, you don't have to look at me. To start, just come down like you're going to do bridge pose, but with your head kind of close to the wall, because we're just going to do bridge pose. Okay. And you might choose to do bridge pose the entire time. So once you get onto your back with your knees bent, feel your breath go in and feel your breath go out. But notice how your breath feels now compared to earlier, if it's any different. And then when you're ready, just rise into a traditional yoga bridge pose. So to make it a yoga bridge pose, we are allowing the spine to come into more extension. Rather than sinking ribs down, we're opening the ribs. We're inhaling and expanding the ribs. But I've still got my tail tucked and my glutes engaged. So I've got some length in my low back. I'm just noticing how this feels, right? Just notice how it feels in your body. Good. And then exhale, come on down. Take a break. You might windshield wiper side to side a little bit. Do what feels right. And we're going to do the same thing, but for this one, we're going to have what I'm calling robot arms. So it's like your elbows are at your sides. They may or may not be close to your ribs, and your fingers are pointing toward the ceiling, with the palms facing one another. Palms face. Yeah, that's it. And so the point of the robot arms is that when I rise up into my bridge, I then use my elbows to help my chest open more by pressing down through the elbows. And I'm going to put pressure into the back of my head so that my neck doesn't flatten against the floor. So come into bridge whenever you're ready. Your elbows are close to your body. Some are going to be closer than others. And you're tucking your shoulders under if you can. Your back of your head is pressing into the floor so you can feel that your neck is curved away from the floor. And as you breathe, can you expand the ribs and open the fronts of the thighs and hips? Nice, everybody. Come down whenever you need to or when you're ready. But don't stay too long because we're doing more, okay? Yeah. Come on down, take a break, roll your wrists around, do what you need to. Now, options. Well, no, let's all try this next option, okay? The next option you might need to look for. So you might just roll to your side or get where you can see me. Some of you have done it, so you'll remember. But for this one, I'm putting my hands into the baseboard. My palms are against the wall and my fingers are pointing down. My elbows are pointing toward the ceiling. And at first, all I'm going to have you guys do is feel like you're pushing your shoulders into the socket more strongly. Just boom, right? And then I'm going to keep that as I come into bridge. I'm going to do the back of the head thing, and that's all I'm doing. It's more of a core bridge because there's not space to open my chest when I push my shoulders in, okay? When you're ready, let's give it a shot. So you set up for bridge and get to where your palms of hands can be on the baseboard, elbows toward the ceiling. And then just without doing anything, can you just, without lifting anything, can you press hands into wall, feel shoulders go into socket a bit? Just get that feeling. We're going to try to keep that feeling as we lift the hips whenever you're ready. Keep the glutes engaged. Good. Press into the back of the head. Your hands are shoulder distance or slightly wider. So they're not more narrow than your shoulders. Lisa, widen your hands. I think you need to come a little further from the wall. Yeah, there you go. That's it. Keep breathing. Good. And then come down. Roll your wrists or do whatever you want to do. And then you can watch me for the next version. Now, this one you might want to skip, some of you. And if that's the case, you could come into supported bridge, right? Just slide a block underneath your hips and rest, or a bolster and just hang out, or you could do active bridge. Here's what I'm going to offer you. My blocks are slanted. You could have them on your mat. They might even stick better. But I'm going to put my hands kind of the same way I just was. But this time, I'm going to come up a little higher. So I'm going to first find that shoulder into its spot, right? And then from there, I'm going to use an exhale. I'm going to exhale, press into my feet and just come onto my head. And then I'm going to feel this position again, pushing shoulder sockets in. And I'm going to use that strength, maybe if you want to try to exhale and come up. And I've got my glutes really engaged, but you might just come to here. You might just come to bridge. You know, you can experiment with it and see what you want to do, okay? Or do any of those other things I mentioned, okay? So blocks are slanted. They're a little wider or about the width of your shoulders. First of all, it might be hard enough just to get your arms in this position, okay? Now feel that shoulder engagement first with bent knees. Just feel it, go into the socket, get that strength. And then if you feel like you want to, lift the hips, feeling that strength still. And then pop onto the head and pause there and just feel that. And then you might want to go all the way up. You can see, okay, so there's all these little steps that you can take in between. This is no easy pose, Urdhva Danurasana. This is upward facing bow pose. It's a big pose, right? So just notice all the strength and opening that this pose requires, which is why we just do little steps. And a couple more breaths there. And then from here, you guys, if you're still on your mat where you are, if you don't have to move to get comfortable again, you can just stay here and windshield wiper or happy baby or knees to chest. If you need to move to get to your mat, then go for it. Just roll to your side and get where you need to be. And do any poses that feel restorative to you right now before we settle into Shavasana in a minute or two. Okay, so perhaps twists, perhaps knees in. Take your time, and as you're noticing yourself here, if you're really up in your head, the Urdhva Danurasana can really get you activated. That may have happened and it might not have. See if you can get your attention into your body and try to feel for what it wants right now. We have those bolsters to put below our knees. You could use a rolled up blanket or blocks at home instead. So whenever you feel ready for that, bolster below the knees might feel nice. You know, I like to put a block on the foot side, but you could also put 2 blocks underneath, like a little Stonehenge, like this. Boom. So we did a lot of activating at the end there with back bending. So you might not feel so settled just yet, and you might. So let's try to bring that on a little more efficiently by lengthening the exhale with a sigh or blowing out through pursed lips. Letting yourself settle onto the floor below you. And if you needed to leave right at 10:15, you can. And I'm sorry that you'll miss a relaxation, but go for it if you need. Otherwise, spend a little more time with those long exhales. With each one, inviting in a little more softening around your jaw. And transitioning to a natural breath whenever you're ready. Letting go of your pranayama. Noticing your feet, and if you can release and soften your feet. Your ankles and lower legs. Feeling all the way up into the thighs and hips, softening if you can. Feeling for softening your belly, just letting it move naturally. Noticing your chest and upper back, shoulders, your arms and hands. Inviting your jaw and throat to soften. All the muscles on your face. Feeling your head on the floor. Forehead and temples softening. And feeling for letting go a little bit deeper into the floor as though you could sink into it. Might even sigh again. Allowing yourself to be supported here. And with that support, noticing any opening across your chest. Maybe you can breathe into that area, or you might even want to put a hand there if it feels good to you. And as you move through your day today or your week, you might just bring to mind the moments where you feel really supported, what things support you to be able to be vulnerable, how you support yourself, and also the support we give others so that they can open up. I'll end our session with an Om and just let you come out as you're ready. I'll inhale and then I'll Om. Inhaling. Om. All right. Thank you, everybody.